Hi Year 4. We're going to start our writing lesson today in our boats. Go and get your boat and I'll meet you there. So, in yesterday's lesson we looked at the storm part of Malik's journey. We focused on fronted adverbials of place, thinking about what Malik could see during the storm. Today, we're going to focus on how Malik and Ahmed might have felt during the storm. We're going to be using fronted adverbials of manner today to write the next paragraph of our diary entry. Don't worry, I'll explain more about fronted adverbials of manner in a while. So let's imagine we're back in our boat in the middle of the ocean during the storm. Let's focus on how we're feeling. Oh my goodness, there are huge waves crashing all around us. I can't hear anything but the rumble of thunder and the wind rushing past us. It's freezing cold now. My clothes are absolutely drenched.
So, how are you feeling at this point in the journey? Now it's time for a your turn activity. I want you to get a piece of paper and to draw 4 emojis that describe your feelings during the storm section of the journey. You can use this emoji map here to help you. Which emojis best describe how you're feeling? Spread them out on your page when you draw them, as you're going to do some writing around them. Pause the video now and do this. So, which emotions did you pick? Here are my 4 emojis to describe my feelings in the storm. I chose a worried face, an angry face, a tired face, and a frightened face. Right, now we've chosen our emojis, we have to label our emotions. On the word map, you can see the different emotions that relate to the emoji. So this one, we've got ecstatic, elated, exuberant, jubilant, and thrilled. For your 4 chosen emojis, I want you to choose the best word to describe your emoji and how you felt. And I want you to write that word underneath the picture that you've drawn. Pause the video now and do that. So this is the check part. For my tired looking emoji, I've picked the word exhausted. For this angry one, I've up-leveled angry to infuriated. For this emoji, I've picked worried. And for this one, I've picked the word frightened. Which emotions have you picked? Now that we've done this, this is going to form the plan for our writing today. So as I said earlier, today we are continuing to write our diary entry, looking at Malik's journey in the storm, and that will help us get an idea for what it might have been like for Ahmed. In the paragraph that we're writing today, we're going to continue to focus on the use of fronted adverbials. So just a quick check if you can remember what fronted adverbials are. So they're found at the start of the sentence. They give us more information about the sentence, and they are always followed by that comma. So far this week, we've looked at fronted adverbials of time that tell us when. We've looked at fronted adverbials of place that tell us where. And today, we're going to look at fronted adverbials of manner. They tell us how. So in my example sentence down here, we've got frightened. I hid behind the tree. The fronted adverbial of manner is frightened. It's telling us how we hid behind the tree.
So now we're ready to write the next paragraph of our diary entry, focusing on our fronted adverbials of manner. We've done most of the hard work because we've got our plan with our 4 fronted adverbials of manner that we're going to use in our writing. So on my plan, I've got my 4 fronted adverbials of manner: exhausted, infuriated, frightened, and worried. And I need to think about which order I'm going to put those in my paragraph. So the fronted adverbial that I'm going to start with is frightened. Now, what could I have been doing in the boat that shows that I'm frightened? Maybe I could be huddling down on the floor trying to get away from all the waves. Maybe I could be clinging onto my family member. I think I'm going to go with that one. So my fronted adverbial needs a capital letter, frightened. Frightened. Remember we're talking about making ourselves Ahmed. I clung onto my dad for protection. Full stop. So the next fronted adverbial I'm going to use, thinking about my plan, I'm going to put worried. Now, again, what can I do that might show that I'm worried? Well, I was pretty frightened in that boat in the middle of the storm, so I think that I might actually start to cry. So Remember, your fronted adverbial of manner goes at the front of the sentence. So worried with a capital letter. Worried. I started, in the past tense, remember, started to cry. Full stop. Let me just check that one. Worried. I've got my fronted adverbial of manner from my plan with my capital letter, and I've forgotten that comma every time after a fronted adverbial. Worried, I started to cry. Full stop. So the third fronted adverbial of manner that I'm going to use off my plan is infuriated. Now, infuriated is an up-level word for angry. So why might I be angry? I think you're right. I would be angry because I've had to leave my home, I've left my friends, I've left everything that I've ever owned, and I've had to go off in a boat, and I probably don't really understand why. So that's what I'm going to write for my next sentence. So, infuriated, full stop. I need that capital letter. Infuriated. Infuriated, comma, I've remembered it this time. Infuriated. I wondered why I had to leave my home. Infuriated, cross that T a little bit more. I wondered why I had to leave my home with my full stop. So my final fronted adverbial off my plan is exhausted. So that means tired. So why would I be tired at this point in the story? Well, I've been in the boat for hours now. It's in the middle of the night. I've been trying to keep warm and maybe scooping out the water that's come into the bottom of the boat. So I'd be pretty tired. So what do you do when you're tired? That's right, you close your eyes. So that's what I'm going to put for my final sentence. So exhausted, capital letter. I don't think I could fit it there, so I'm going to start a new line. Exhausted, making sure I don't join that X. Exhausted, comma after my fronted adverbial. I closed my eyes to rest. Full stop. Exhausted, I closed my eyes to rest. I have now included all 4 fronted adverbials from my plan.
Now it's your turn. But before you start your writing today, let's look at the Chilli challenges. So Chilli 1's, your challenge today is to use 4 fronted adverbials of manner to describe how Arknet felt in the storm. There's a scaffold here for you to use if you need it. You need to fill in the blanks with fronted adverbials of manner. Remember, fronted adverbials of manner tell you how. So how did you hide behind your dad? So you need to fill in the fronted adverbials. Blank, I hid behind my dad. Blank, I started to shout for help. Blank, I begged for the rain to stop. And blank, I curled up in a ball to rest. Chilli 2's, your challenge today is to remember to use that comma after your fronted adverbials of manner every time. And Chilli 3's, your task is to use a wider range of fronted adverbials of manner. Can you think of any different ones that weren't on the word map? Pause the video now and write your paragraph. Then come back to me and we'll do the check part of the lesson together.
So now for the most important part of our writing, we're going to be editing today. So I need to check that I've got my capital letters, my full stops, and that all-important comma after my fronted adverbial. I'm going to highlight my fronted adverbials of manner in a green for great, but you could just circle them if you don't have any different colours. So, frightened. This is why it's so important. I've just seen that I've forgotten my my comma after my fronted adverbial, so I'm going to pop that in now. Frightened, I clung on to my dad for protection. Full stop. So, there's my first fronted adverbial of manner. Worried, I remembered it that time. I started to cry. Infuriated, I wondered why I had to leave my home. And I've got my capital letter, and I've got my comma, and my full stop. And then my final sentence, I've got capital letter, exhausted. That's my fronted adverbial of manner. I close my eyes to rest. Have a go at doing this at home just to check that you've got all of the steps to success in your paragraph for today. See you soon.